It was almost 20 years ago that the world opened its eyes and realized that aliens lived among us, and we could only be protected by Two-Face and a dash of Big Willie style. That's right. This week we take on one of the most fun movies of the 90s, starring Will Smith and Tommy Lee Jones, as we try to neuralize the past and remake Men in Black right. Hello, my fellow cinematic architects, and welcome to Remake This Movie Right. We are a member of the Hollywood Outsider Network. Listen to episodes of Remake This Movie Right on iTunes. Reviews they're appreciated. Please do it. Please take a second. Go leave us a review right now. We'll wait. Your podcast app of choice, or just visit the website at RemakeThisMovieRight.com. I obviously lied. We're not going to wait. Remake This Movie Right is a show that takes an original film that has an actual remake in the works, figure out what still clicks and what doesn't, throw a little bit of humor at it, and then we determine exactly how Hollywood should remake it. So by the end of each episode, we will have the remake ready to roll for Hollywood execs and present it to you in movie trailer form. We're here to tell Hollywood how to remake this movie right. I am your host, Aaron Peterson, and joining me today, you might remember him from our Independence Day, Weird Science, and that really awkward never-ending story episode, Scott Clark.
Hey, how's it going, man?
Good. I'm really excited about this one. And returning for yet another comic adaptation, I kind of feel bad at this point because it seems like you keep being brought for that. You're an expert in your field. From Spider-Man, Blade, and Saw, Zack Parkerson.
I Saw wasn't a comic.
You said there was a comic.
It had comics. So, yeah, but if you need you need an expert in everything. So here I am.
Did you have a training class? Is there like a manual for that?
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's called Being a Nerd.
Well, for this episode,
a little nerd card.
Is it like a pocket
It's
protector?
laminated, of course.
For this episode, we're going to remake Men in Black. Wow. Men in Black. That's nice. Well played.
A classic.
Well played. Here's for people that have never seen Men in Black, here's what it's about. Let me see if I can do this right. The good guys dress in black, remember that, just in case we're ever face-to-face, make contact. Will Smith stars as, who partners with Mr. Jones as K. They guard against extraterrestrial violence, but, they ain't got no government list. Black suits with Ray-Bans are in pursuit of a man who looks like Kingpin in an Edgar suit. Here come the Men in Black, the Galaxy Defenders. It was kind of like a monotone rap. You're welcome.
Did you write that, or is that all lyrics from the song? Some of that I don't remember.
No, I wrote that. Yep.
I think it's all on the back of the DVD box.
Speaking of Edgar suit, I'm convinced that Vincent D'Onofrio is an alien because somebody is officially wearing an Edgar suit for real. That dude looks so skinny in this movie. Get by comparison.
He's
Vincent D'Onofrio now looks like he ate Vincent D'Onofrio.
That's what I'm saying. There's some larger fella is now wearing an Edgar suit because
poor Vincent.
He put on all the way for Kingpin.
He did.
Is that what it was?
And then he just kept it.
It was for the character.
He zipped it up.
He's method acting to this day.
Men in Black premiered in 1997 and was huge. It was followed by Men in Black 2 in 2002, which was not as well received, and Men in Black 3 in 2012, which was much better. It was a lot better received. I don't think the second one was really seen as a floppo, but yeah, it just didn't do as well as they hoped. That's for sure.
Is floppo a technical term?
It is. It's an industry term.
Floppo.
Mm-hmm. So here we are, Men in Black. This is one we've been waiting on as we near the end of season 2, and it's a big one. It's a huge episode because this is a great movie. It's one of the few movies I think that is near perfect, honestly. So Let me ask you guys. We'll start with you, Zach. Tell me the first time you saw Men in Black and what you thought of it.
Oh, I don't know, Aaron. As you remember, I'm so young. A child. I mean, I just remember watching it again and again as a kid because it was one of the movies I had on VHS when I was 7 or whatever. It was great. It's so funny. Even to this day, it just holds up. It's a lighthearted classic.
Was it like a movie you watch with your family, like your brothers and that sort of thing, or? Sure,
sometimes. I don't know. They're just my brothers.
They're not special.
No. It's just it was a good movie to throw in the background when you get home from school. You had a rough day, coloring in all the books, and you need to relax. And Will Smith is there for you.
Coloring in the books.
Uh-huh.
All right, Scotty.
So I always like those little alien guys with the cigarettes.
They promote smoking. You think we could do that today, or would somebody raise a ruckus?
I don't think you can.
Yeah, I don't think.
I'm pretty sure someone's going to raise a ruckus about anything and everything. So
right. I don't think you can shoot the cardboard cutout of a little girl anymore either.
Right in the head.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Gotta go for the kill shot, man.
Scotty, what about you? What are your first thoughts of Men in Black?
Oh man, I have such good memories of the first time I saw Men in Black because if you listen to the Hollywood Outsider, which Aaron and I do weekly, I got a little bit of a reputation of not seeing too many films from my early years, mostly because of my upbringing. I wasn't allowed to. I saw so few movies in the theater, and this movie came out when I was 17, and my biological father did not subscribe to the notion that I should not be seeing movies in the theater, and I went and saw this movie with him. He decided he wanted to take me out to see a movie. I actually think this is the second one. It was this and Starship Troopers.
Did he sneak you out? Is it like a covert op?
Not sneak me out, but it was like my weekend to go hang out with him or whatever. And he said, "We're going to go see a movie. What do you want to go see?" And my first choice was the one with the boobies, of course. But Men in Black really appealed to me, so I wanted to check it out. So I felt like a rebel going to see a PG-13 movie when I was 17 years old.
Hey, wait!
That's a rebel, man.
Yeah, what was the movie with the boobies? What was that one? Do you remember?
Starship Troopers.
Oh, we were remaking that one soon. All right, go ahead, continue.
So you got to remember, Aaron, you've been going to a theater since you were what, like 3?
Mm-hmm.
You just kind of grew up with it. And so even though I was 17 years old, being in the theater was just like an almost existential experience. Like it was just like a new thing for me. It was awesome. And the fact that I got to see this one as one of those early experiences. I mean, I saw a few as a kid, but I mean, seriously, I think the last time I had been in a theater before this was like Top Gun. That's how long it had been since I'd been in the theater.
That was the 80s, man.
I know. Top Gun and Flight of the Navigator. I remember seeing those are the only two movies I remember seeing as a child.
I've never even heard of Flight of the Navigator.
Really? Disney classic.
Mm-mm. Oh,
it's not a classic, but I like it.
Yeah, I don't think it's a classic.
So
it's a classic. He's like, I haven't heard of it, so it doesn't count.
That's right.
So I want to think that even though I hadn't seen a whole lot of movies, and especially in the theater, that I still would have enjoyed it. But I definitely feel like that was a benefit to my enjoyment of it because, you know, it's one of the first times I did something like this, and it blew me away that movies could be this funny. You know, I mean, it wasn't super vulgar. It was PG-13, and just the whole concept was new to me. I never heard of the comics or anything like that, and I had a ton of fun with it, and felt like I was getting away with something at the same time. So, you know, what kid isn't going to like that?
That's pretty cool. So, did you ever rat Dad out or stepdad out?
I don't remember. No, it was actually my real dad.
Your real dad?
My mom and my stepdad didn't know about it. At some point, they did. Probably. I was notorious for telling on myself. I remember as a kid. Oh yeah, man. I actually
Who the hell does that?
sick. Oh man, I did. I faked sick one time to stay home from church on the Sunday and sneaked out of the house to rent Liar Liar and watched it while they were all at church. And I felt so guilty, I told on myself. And then my parents watched it too, and they loved it. So
was it because of the message of the movie? You decided you couldn't lie anymore?
It was higher than a G-rated movie, and that was a problem.
You needed to get this flashy thingy for your parents. That's what you need to do, and then you could just do whatever and be like, "Hey, check this out."
Yes.
I remember seeing this bad boy in the theater. I was a big Will Smith fan from his music. That's right, kids. He used to do music. I was a big DJ Jazzy Jeff fan. Then he did the show Fresh Prince of Bel-Air, Bad Boys, Independence Day. And then, you know, this was his big movie. This was his big, they said like starring role, but it's not really a starring role. It's co-starring with Mr. Tommy Lee Jones. And so I got really excited because I'm finally going to see Will Smith in a big movie. It's very much a parody on some things going on with X-Files at that time, because the X-Files was a huge show in the late 90s. You know, the Men in Black kept popping up on that show as more of a kind of a joke. And here, they were just completely making a joke. I didn't even know there was a comic. So it felt like almost a parody of X-Files to me, plus it had Will Smith. I was sold. And I love how Will Smith, you know, did songs for his movies at that time. So that was another thing. Like the song came out before the movie, and it's like, "Here got the Men in Black." So everybody's all excited. And it's just, I left the theater, wasn't even thinking, wow, that Will Smith was great like I expected to. I left the theater thinking, this is one of the most creative movies I think I've ever seen. Mm-hmm. I really believe this movie is just an astonishing creation from all the things that they put into it, all the ideas that they have in it that work. And honestly, having never read the comic, I don't know how much is. I know what the comic is, but I didn't actually read it, so I don't know, how many of the ideas came from that, or how many came from the ideas of the writers and the director and everything. But it is a plethora of visual creation, and it's fun. And movies aren't fun anymore. They're not as often as this one was. Just nailed it.
Speaking of the song, that is it's not 100% an original song, right?
Well, I don't know. It's a rap song, so I'm sure he stole music from somebody.
Well, so what's wrong? Yeah, you talking smack about the Men in Black song?
No. I mean, he wrote the verses and everything like that, but the chorus was it Patrice Russian? Forget Me Nots.
Sure sounds good, but it's Will Smith's song. It's his now. He owns it.
Go listen to that song and tell me it doesn't sound exactly like Men in Black.
I just listened to it. All I heard was, I said the Men in Black. Will Smith.
Yeah.
I don't care if nobody else made that beat sound like that. That's what I'm saying.
It's his second best rap about his movies. Come on.
Yep. Wild Wild West.
Back up. Yeah. Jim West Desperado.
Rough Rider. No, you don't want none of this. Oh, sorry.
Yeah.
Different movie. That one's going to be remade soon, too. Trust me. If you have your own pitch or thoughts on this week's show, email us at remakeismovieright@gmail.com. It's remakeismovieright@gmail.com. But first, here's a clip from Men in Black.
Officer Eduardo, how did these get here? I thought I'd turn these into the proper authorities.
The way I hear it, Jeebsy, you into something a little hotter than some stolen Rolexes.
Well, I'm a huge crack dealer now, but I still work here because I love the hours.
I'm talking about guns, smartass. Weird ones.
Come on, Edward, what you see is what I got.
Why don't you show him the imports, Jeeps?
Hey, Kay, how are you?
Show him the imports right now.
Yeah, I got out of that business a long time ago.
Why do you lie to me, Jeeps? I hate it when you lie.
Just hold on a second.
I'm gonna count to 3.
He'll do it, Jeeps.
1.
I'm telling you, that man does not look stable.
2.
But you know what? Talk to me. He is just crazy when he's like this.
He's always crazy. Why don't you get a massage? Take a cruise.
Drop the weapon and put your hands on your head.
I warned him.
Drop the weapon!
You warned him.
Don't make me kill you.
You insensitive prick.
All right, now for a little bit of trivia. One thing, I just learned this. Linda Fiorentino, who's famous for pissing Kevin Smith off on Dogma. Mm-hmm. She's in this movie because she won a bet with the director. She actually won She won this role in poker. True story.
It's a high wager.
That is. She got $1,200 and this role. That's what she got from Barry Sonnenfeld. Yeah, kids, gambling pays off. Give it a shot.
Yeah, good call.
All right,
yeah, Barry Sonnenfeld, man. His career took off.
You notice she's not in any of the sequels, right? I mean, we noticed that.
She stopped gambling, apparently.
Yeah, something like that. If you listen to Kevin Smith's commentary on Dogma, you might have some more ideas. Vincent D'Onofrio researched his role as Edgar by watching a lot of bug documentaries. In order to achieve his character's distinctive walk, he put on knee braces so he couldn't bend his knees and taped up his ankles. It's pretty clever.
Wow.
That's dedication.
That is
dedication. He's a method actor.
How did he come up with the movement with his upper body? Like, remember that scene when he's sitting in the bug truck and he's like trying to act like he's sitting all nonchalant? Like, where did he come up with that? Because that was super weird.
I think he had gas. That's what I'm guessing.
It looked like he did. That's for sure.
A little bit.
He looked more unnerving than I remembered. So walking around,
like more
zombified,
creepy.
Yeah, it kind of came off a little creepy for me.
So it wasn't as funny to you watching it?
Is that better?
Will Smith didn't believe it was really Steven Spielberg on the other end of the line when the director first rang to talk to him because he's a producer on Men in Black. And after reading the script, Will Smith didn't want to accept the role, but his wife, Jada Pinkett Smith, convinced him to take the part. What? Why would you turn that down?
Well, I mean, let's be honest. On paper, that probably looks really silly.
They got Tommy Lee Jones. They got him to do it, and he seems like he'd be a harder person to sell.
That's true.
Yeah, at that time. Now he'll probably just take a check.
Yeah, he did Mechanic too. I think his options are a little more open. The known aliens visible on the screen include Al Roker, Danny DeVito, the director Barry Sonnenfeld, which is just kind of funny. His daughter is in there. Sylvester Stallone's in there. Dionne Warwick, Newt Gingrich, George Lucas, and executive producer Steven Spielberg. I thought that was kind of... Did you guys notice all of them?
It flashes on so quickly. I never paused it to like try to figure out each one, but every time I watched it, I was like, "Oh, hey, there's also that person."
I recognize that black newscaster, and then he was Al Roker later.
You didn't realize it was Al Roker at the time because he's about 100 pounds heavier, or what?
I didn't know his name until you just said it out loud. Didn't remember his name. Yeah,
that one guy on that show. I know him. He's on every morning.
Yeah, he was on the news or something.
The movie was going to be set in underground bases in locations including Kansas, Washington, D.C., and Nevada. But Barry Sonnenfeld made New York the main Earth location. He thought it was more believable that aliens could hide out in a global capital, safety and crowd, so to speak, and thought New Yorkers would be more tolerant of people who behaved oddly. He also felt much of the city structures resembled flying saucers and rocket ships, which could be real spacecraft and other hidden alien technology.
Which is what they did with the movie in the finale, really.
You should spend a weekend in Chicago, see some real freaks.
Are they as accepting?
Yeah, we mostly just, turn your headphones up and ignore. So, yeah, I guess aliens could hide out here.
Okay, and now there's 3 left, and one of these is fantastic to me, which I didn't know it, and it just blew my mind. The first one is when Will Smith, jumps from the overpass onto the tour bus. He jumps from Pershing Square Bridge. And that's the same location where Robert Neville, who is also played by Will Smith, is attacked by the demon dogs when the sun goes down in I Am Legend.
Oh, that's kind of interesting.
It's just raining black people in New York.
Now, here's the one that I think is really cool. Quentin Tarantino was originally offered the chance to direct and turned it down.
That would have been awful. I'm sorry.
You should.
That would not.
No. Awesome.
No. I love Quentin Tarantino's movies, but there's no way that would have worked. It's just been a bunch of people talking at each other for half an hour at a time.
It would have been a 4-hour movie, and there would have been aliens twice.
That's pretty accurate. And one of those aliens would be Samuel L. Jackson. This is also
the N-word, every other word.
Exactly. Why are they dropping this left and right? I don't know. This guy showed up and did a rewrite, so here we are. This is the highest grossing action buddy comedy in the U.S. box office. Still, $250 million bucks. Yeah, it did really well. All right, guys. So, what makes this movie so notable, Zach? What makes the movie so notable for you?
Rewatching it, the pacing really stood out. It's got a real flow. It's just funny. They don't bog it down with anything too dramatic. The action scenes are even quick, and it just kind of gets back to them. Well, mostly Will Smith bantering, and it's just a lot of fun,
right? I mean, his lines are great.
So many memorable quotes. That if you want to feel good, watch Men in Black.
Yeah, I was rewatching it last night, thinking of you, Aaron, in terms of like which clips are you going to use to splice into this episode. There's so many good ones. It's got to be impossible to pick the best ones. That there's so many iconic ones that just I'm like, wow, I haven't heard that line in forever, and it's so good.
I kind of want to just play the song throughout the entire episode, really, as background music. And exactly, I'll go steal or sample the music Scott was talking about, and that'll be the background.
There you go. Just 30 seconds at a time. Right. For me, I mentioned how I thought the concept was so clever. This was like a new idea to me, and like Aaron said, I watched X-Files as well. So, as a kid, I wanted to believe that aliens existed, and this was just kind of a fun, quirky way to do it. But even outside of that, the dichotomy between the cynical old timer and a young hotshot which you would never think would work. I mean, the first time I saw that poster and I saw Will Smith and Tommy Lee Jones, I'm like, there's no way this is going to work. It does not make any sense. But for whatever reason, they do. Tommy Lee Jones' deadpan humor is hilarious. It's so funny. Just the way that he delivers his lines, everything sounds so matter-of-factly. Like it's like he's messing with him, but not doing it with a sarcastic tone. He just does a completely deadpan, and it cracks me up.
He reminds me of Angry Grandpa. It's like, why are you so cranky, Grandpa? Lighten up.
But then, like he lets loose when they're flying in the car upside down, and he's listening to Elvis bopping his head back and forth with his hair hanging upside down. And you got to learn to let loose, kid. It's just so funny to me. And I also loved how both K and Z constantly referred to Jay as sport or kid or slick or whatever. Just because like at the very beginning when he first gets recruited, he's like, all right, I'm in. but no calling me slick or youngster or whatever. And that's all they do for the entire movie. It's like a total slap in the face. And it's just like a subtle little jab at him throughout the movie that just makes me laugh every time.
I honestly forgot about that one. When I was rewatching it, I forgot about that. And that every time somebody would throw out their slick or whatever, I would just, oh, snap. I forgot that they even did that. That was really clever.
I also really like the kind of quote unquote twist in this where they're looking for Orion's belt, and everybody knows that Orion's belt is those 3 stars in the sky. And, there's this whole mentality of humans think that the world is just as big as they are. It's not any bigger or smaller. It's just like we're the center of the universe. And when Orion's belt winds up being the collar of a cat, I've never considered a collar to be a belt, but it kind of is a belt. And that's where the jewel was hidden. Like kind of like with the characters themselves in New York City are hidden in plain sight. The galaxy itself was hidden in plain sight throughout the most of the movie, and I never even considered it until Edgar stared at that picture of the cat wearing that jewel from his neck, and I went, "Oh!" It just that misdirection was a lot of fun the first time I saw it.
I was just thinking about how it could have been a good twist, but just as long as have a memory that I remember that as being the plot. But I guess it would be a clever twist. That was my contribution.
It was a clever twist.
Yeah.
You just don't remember it being clever because you saw it when you were, what, 5 or
7?
Something?
Yeah. So, yeah.
7,
young.
whatever. Young. Just a pup.
Just a little slick out there,
Uh-huh. I loved his training. His training was great. I mean, he did everything different from everybody else. And as you're watching it, I'm like, all right, I see why they would keep him. I mean, he did the table thing. I'm like, that's practical. He's pulling the table toward him, so he has something right. It's practical. And then he shoots a little girl. Makes sense.
Yeah, but then he just BS'd his way through that whole thing. He had no idea what he was doing. It was just total BS. And it's exactly the answer they wanted to hear.
He knew what he was doing. She was up to no good, man.
She was shady.
White girl with quantum physics books, middle of the hood.
She has some shit, Zed.
So good. This guy, he just got a cold. He's holding the Kleenex. This guy, he's just working out.
I'd appreciate it if you just
coming in when I'm at the gym.
I'd appreciate it if you just back up off me.
Right.
Man, I literally just watched this and I want to go watch it again. That's how good this movie is.
It's such a good movie.
It's that good. Knock your punk ass down. NYPD, knock your punk ass down. Down. The way he says it is just the delivery is hysterical. And just rating, it's just rating black people.
Or when he's knocking the other cops that can't keep up with him in the cop shop, he's like, "Well, some of the other officers are a little soggy around the midsection." I just love his digs. Oh man, I gotta go watch this again.
And I gotta mention the score. None of us have really mentioned the score. This is a fantastic score.
Yeah, it really is.
The score really helps set the tone.
The score stood out to me in that it sounded an awful lot like the Spider-Man score. Well, and Danny Elfman kind of does the same noises a lot.
Reminded me a little bit of Beetlejuice.
Also Danny Elfman.
Yeah. Uh-huh. Mm-hmm. So I would take it opposite stance and say the score did not stand out to me.
Well, it did to me.
Other than that, it was slightly irritating that it sounded so much like a Danny Elfman score.
Stop it. It sounded good. I'm glad I'm not young. I saw this before Spider-Man, and I saw, it just seemed unique. It set the tone. It created that world. This movie is one of those rare movies that has its own specific tone. Like, it created its own vibe. And not many movies do that. And the music was part of it. And Tony Shalhoub. That was a big one for me. Tony Shalhoub. I freaking love Tony Shalhoub. I think, Zach, you and I are both Monk fans, right?
Oh, yeah. That show's great.
With his lazy eye. He looked okay to me.
His gross teeth. It's just like 98 minutes or whatever of just nonstop laughs. It's a good movie, man.
It's a great movie. So does anything not work? Anything doesn't work here, Scott?
A couple things, and they're pretty slight because you mentioned this is pretty close to a perfect movie for me, which is weird because there's not many comedies to me that are near perfect, and this is one of them. As good as they still look, considering how old the movie is, some of the over-the-top weirdness of the aliens look just kind of gets old a little bit to me. I mean, I understand that aliens are going to look different than us and all that, but it just some of them just look so out there that like come on, this guy with 8 tentacles is going to be going through security checkpoint at an airport and passing what look like living vegetables. I don't know. Some of that I would like to see that toned down a little bit. I think just because it gets distracting after a while. And I know it wasn't in this one, but like in the later one, they had the one guy with what was he, a Balchinian? Like, come on.
Yeah, that was Men in Black 2, I think.
Yep, Men in Black 2.
That's an awful movie.
And the only other thing that kind of I didn't like this time around, it never really bothered me before. Maybe it's because it's been so long since I've seen it, but I really didn't like Lyndon Florentino that much. I liked her better when she was being attacked by Edgar and she was she started to loosen up. But as the Mortician, she just was so deadpan, but not in a good way.
Mortician,
yeah.
She's dead. Yeah,
I get it.
Just no emotion. I mean, sure, I guess I could see if that's your job, you're probably not hanging out with a lot of living people anyway. I don't know. I don't know how that works. But she just the way she talked and so monotone and just showing no interest in anything. She bored me a little bit. But again, minor thing.
Well, she's one of those actresses that everything she does, I feel like she's just trying to seduce somebody. I mean, that's like her thing. Whenever she's acting, I don't really see a character. I just see this lady's trying to seduce this guy. You know,
oh, sure. She shows one sign of sexual independence, and then it goes.
It's true. It's true. Zach, what about you? Does anything not work now that you rewatched it? Nothing?
No. The cockroach looked a little dumb. No,
the big bug at the end, you mean?
Yeah, the big cockroach guy looked a little silly. But no, that's a good movie, man. That is a good movie.
Yep, I got nothing. I actually watched it and I was looking for something to point. I'm like, you know what? I'm just going to find something. I know I love this movie. I'm going to take the blinders off and I'm going to find something I don't like. And I didn't find anything. I even like Linda Florentino. I'm like, you know what? She could seduce me, you know, at this point in her life. Before she's
just a non-factor to me that I don't care one way or the other.
Well, she became a factor like when it moves to the sequels because it kind of was a little. I feel like it was weird that they never even addressed it. You made her an agent, and I don't even know what happened to her, unless it's a line that I missed or something. But
well, there's probably some drama on the set, or
Jay probably got annoyed and just neuralized her one day.
She stopped coming to work. Okay, so let me ask you a question before we get into should it even be remade. What do you guys think of the sequels? Zach, how do you feel about the second and third movie?
I don't care about the second one, and I've mostly forgotten it because it's awful. But I like the third one quite a bit. It was a bit of a tearjerker at the end with Jay and his dad and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
I didn't like the second one the first time I saw it a whole lot at all. But when I watched it on DVD or Blu-ray, whichever, I had a bigger appreciation for it. But it still didn't stand anywhere close to the first one. And the third one, I felt like they tried a little too hard. The story got kind of goofy, or not goofy, but just convoluted at the end. But man, what's his name playing a younger version of what's his name? I'm sorry,
Josh Brolin.
Yeah,
Josh Brolin playing Kay was one of the most brilliant casting moves I've seen in a movie. Not only does he kind of look like Tommy Lee Jones, but he just pulled off the look and the feel of that character so well that I almost believed I was looking at a young Tommy Lee Jones for a couple of minutes.
Yeah,
I heard an interview with him where he basically just did an impression of Tommy Lee Jones. That's really what got him the job. Mm-hmm. And it's just something that happened from that. And I think that was actually something that maybe it might have even sparked the idea. I don't know. But great act from a guy that we know up until the last few years, we just knew as Sean Astin's brother from Goonies. I mean, he's really become a hell of an actor. Just a hell of an actor. Mm-hmm. I don't hate the second one. I mean, I don't think it's a good movie. I can watch it, but I think it's just, I mean, you can tell it's a cash grab. Everything about it just screams, we did it for the money. Mm-hmm. And, but then the third one came around, which I was dreading because of the second one. And I only went and saw it because, you know, we do a podcast about movies and that's why we went and saw it. And it was surprisingly good. Josh Brolin did great. I was really worried about Tommy Lee Jones not being in the movie that much, and it ended up not being a problem at all.
Yep.
So should this movie even be remade, or should it be placed in don't touch status? I'm throwing in it should be a don't touch movie, but they're going to remake it anyway. What do you think, Scott?
Well, I think the movie still holds up, but I actually like the idea of this one being remade, which is weird because as good as the movie is and as enjoyable as it is still to watch, I kind of like the idea of doing a fresh spin on the franchise because I think doing a sequel, I think it's too late to do a Men in Black 4. At this point, it's been enough years. I don't consider it untouchable, but I think you need to do something a little bit different, do a different spin on it, and change a couple things up, and have some fun with it. Maybe not in the way that they're gonna do it, but we'll talk about that later.
Yeah.
But it comes close to untouchable. But I'm excited to see what they do.
I would see more Men in Black movies. You don't have to remake the first one, but like I would see another Men in Black. I don't know what the plans are for the fourth one.
Oh.
Yeah. Is it not good?
Well, we'll talk about that in a second. Hold tight.
Okay.
There's actually two versions that are happening.
Ooh. I mean, the movie itself, I wouldn't want to see it remade, but I would see, even with different actors, more Men in Black movies.
All right. See, my issue is that, if anything, to me, they prove with the second one how hard it is to recapture the tone that they had. So the only way I would want to see a remake or a reboot is if they actually changed the tone and did something different. Because I don't want them to try to emulate that, because I don't think you could redo it. I really don't. I think it was just a moment in time that was masterfully attained. But you know what? Let's get into the remake. And before we do that, let's hear one more clip from the original before we make it better.
Hey man, what the hell is all this?
Back in the mid-1950s, the government started a little underfunded agency with the simple and laughable purpose of establishing contact with the race not of this planet.
If you look directly at the end of this device, we'll administer the eye.
Where you going?
Yo. Hey man, what the hell is all this?
Back in the mid-1950s, the government started a little underfunded agency with the simple and laughable purpose of establishing contact with the race not of this planet.
If you look directly at the end of this device, we'll administer the eye test.
Everybody thought the agency was a joke, except the aliens who made contact March 2, 1961, outside New York. There were 9 of us the first night. 7 agents, 1 astronomer, and 1 dumb kid who got lost on the wrong back road.
Oh, you brought that tall man some flowers.
This way. They were a group of intergalactic refugees. Wanted to use the Earth as an apolitical zone for creatures without a planet. Did you ever see the movie Casablanca? The same thing, except no Nazis.
Oh.
We agreed, and we concealed all the evidence of their landing.
Uh-huh. So these are real flying saucers, and the World's Fair was just a cover-up for their landing.
Why else would we hold it in Queens? More non-humans arrive every year, and they live among us in secret.
Look, I'm sorry, not to change the subject or anything, but when was the last time you had a CAT scan?
About 6 months ago. It's company policy.
Right, you should make another appointment. Look, tell your boy Zed I had an absolutely wonderful time, and thank you for everything, but why don't you show me the door?
All right. I'm gonna get some coffee. You want some coffee?
No, thank you, I'm fine.
Wanga!
How you doing, fellas?
Okay.
All right, so here's what we know about the intended remake. You ready? You ready for this, Zach? Because you don't know much about it. There are 2 ideas that have been bandied about. Now, one has been scrapped, I believe, completely. And that was the Men in Black 22 Jump Street crossover that they were going to do, where Jonah Hill and Channing Tatum would be Men in Black.
Okay, I did hear about that. That sounds awesome. Are you kidding me? Let's get that movie made.
That sounds like the worst idea I've ever heard.
Oh, that sounds great. You get Will Smith on board? That movie would be incredible.
Will Smith is not going to touch that with a 10-foot pole. He's going to be as far away from that dumpster fire as humanly possible.
You don't like that idea?
No, I don't.
Why? It's ridiculous.
That's probably what the problem with it is for me.
Oh, man.
Sounds ridiculous.
That sounds perfect.
Scott, did you like this idea?
I hated the idea the first time I read it. I was like, you got to be kidding me. This just because as silly as Men in Black is, there's still some seriousness to it. There wasn't a whole lot of seriousness in 21 Jump Street. I don't know. I can't decide if it's just the dumbest idea ever or brilliant. I'm kind of stuck in the middle because I really want to see what they do. But
yeah, I'm
leaning more towards dumb.
Not to see that movie.
Here's the thing. Okay, here's the problem with this. All right, 22 Jump Street is about a bunch of morons that somehow accidentally solve crimes. And Men in Black, for all the jokes, these are competent guys. I mean, Will Smith is shown to be a really competent agent. That's why he's brought in. I mean, he can run down a whatchamacallit, and he can shoot little girls in the head. He's perfect for this job. These bumbling idiots would basically, it would be more of a parody to me, and I don't want to see a parody. I thought Men in Black 2 was already that. That's why I don't like it. But it could be brilliant, even if it's not.
Just seeing those characters reacting to alien life forms sounds very amusing.
Tell me it doesn't sound like something that Seth Rogen came up with while he's high as a kite with James Franco. And like, what do we do? I don't know. And Jonah Hill happened to be there. And he's like, go, get C-Tate to the phone right now.
C-Tate.
Is that like his official nickname, C-Tates, or is that just something we've
That's just something I'm going with. Yeah. Go C-Tates.
My boy C-Tates.
Oh, man. But the other one, which was reported late last year and they're still supposedly in development, was the producers of Men in Black 4 hope to reinvigorate the franchise by adding a female agent to the mix. According to the BBC, producer Laurie MacDonald promises there will be a prominent woman in black in the fourth film, which she's developing with her husband. And apparently they're saying that original franchise star Will Smith is currently not attached to the project, but never count Will out. When you throw in C-Tates, and I bet you can count them out.
Never count Will out.
That's interesting. Okay, so since this movie is getting a remake, one way or the other, and as fans, we always think we know the best way to do so, how should Hollywood remake it? If you've never listened to this podcast before, all selections are settled by a best of 3 vote. Whatever we come up with, it has to be one movie, one coherent movie by the end. And each host does receive one cut per episode to be used when they are extremely passionate about their idea and the other people vote them down. Everybody understand these rules?
Yes, sir.
I do.
Yes, sir.
Sir, say it with a little bit more authority. Come on.
With honors.
I do want to mention what the comic was, just to give people an idea. Lowell Cunningham created this comic, The Men in Black. It was much darker and drier than a family-oriented sci-fi comedy. Basically, the Men in Black survey not only extraterrestrial activity, but paranormal and supernatural activity on Earth. They are allowed to maintain secrecy by any means necessary, including elimination. I assume that means killing people. And they had a secret agenda to manipulate and reshape the world in their own image by keeping the supernatural hidden. It's really dark. Now, Zach, you're our comic expert. What do you know about the comic? Fill us in.
Oh, I mean, I also read the Wikipedia article before doing this.
That's what I did.
And that's about it. You usually forget it even has a comic book, and a comic book kind of sounds dumb, so I've never bothered. It sounds so different. It sounds like the film company really wanted the name Men in Black, and so they legally had to get the rights to the comic first.
Because it sounds so varied.
Yeah, that comic, I don't know. The comic sounds dumb. Sorry, comic writer guy.
Because Lowell Cunningham is listening to this going, you know what? I was working on a script. Thanks for poo-pooing on it.
So working on the next graphic novel of Men in Black.
So let me ask, who has the first idea for what direction they want to go? Who has the initial? Who wants to start?
I want to start because I actually have 2 different ideas, and I just want to throw one quick one out there before we get into the real ones. Because my first one actually plays off of what they're actually doing with it, and that's making this crossover with 21 Jump Street.
Yeah.
If that's the way they're going to go, I've got one where that doesn't happen. Like we pretend that doesn't happen with this remake. But if we have to go with this whole Jonah Hill and C-Tates being in the Men in Black, the way I want that to happen is I want, and it'll never happen, but I want Tommy Lee Jones and I want Will Smith in this movie, even if it's just for the beginning of it. And I want, bear with me, this is a full, I'm going full Heinrich here. I want something to go wrong with the flashy thing, with the neuralizer. And instead of erasing memories, somehow these 4 characters are on an assignment together at the beginning of the movie. Something goes wrong with the neuralizer, and it actually swaps characters.
Like body swaps, like Kirk Cameron and
Freaky Friday?
Freaky Friday, or like Father Like Son, yeah. Will Smith and Tommy Lee Jones are not in it. They just make an appearance. And the rest of the movie, Channing Tatum and Jonah Hill are now acting as Tommy Lee Jones and Will Smith.
God, you just made that idea worse. What the hell is going on?
I don't know, man. It sounds great to me. I'm on board. That might be Scott's best idea ever.
Seriously, imagine Jonah Hill walking around trying to be Will Smith.
Wouldn't that be great?
For 5 minutes, and then it's a Saturday Night Live
Tommy
sketch.
Lee Jones? Oh, man.
God.
I think it could totally work.
Yeah. Aaron, don't poo-poo on the fun, man. This thing sounds great. I think we're done. Wrap this episode up.
And what's the agenda? What agenda do they have?
Who cares?
They just fumble around like, we're going to spend a couple hours. Channing Tatum's going to be Tommy Lee Jones.
Right, we're just freak out to get aliens. That sounds great.
I'm glad you like it, Zach.
Tommy Lee Jones having to do a C. Tate's impression.
God. Do you think he'd even do it, or do you think he would just walk out? Like they would start filming, he'd look at the script and go, I didn't even read this. What the hell is this? I'm not doing it. I don't have abs.
Tommy needs the check.
Yeah, he'd have to hit the gym.
Well, that's the thing is I don't think they would. I'm thinking realistically that they would show up for the swap, but after that the rest of the movie centers around the younger actors.
Well, I totally think Channing Tatum and Jonah Hill would do this. Yeah, in a heartbeat. They would love your idea.
Yeah, I'm sure they would.
That sounds like a great idea. His name is Mr. C. Tate.
He's just C.
He's just C. They call him C. That would actually, all right, that would be kind of funny. There you go.
Do you want to hear my actual real idea outside of the?
Yeah.
There's no way you're gonna top that, man. I'm sorry.
Probably not, but Aaron will probably like it better just because it's not that idea.
It sounds like a movie. Yeah.
Well, here's the thing, and Jay in the original is just the coolest character. He's physically fit. He's a good cop. He's got an attitude. He's got the great one-liners. I want Jay in this movie to be the exact opposite of that. I want him to be kind of a little bit of a loser, but there's a twist to it because I think of it like this character is kind of a nerdy character that believes that aliens exist, and he thinks he doesn't know that Men in Black exist, but he kind of has always assumed that something like Men in Black exists, like a conspiracy theorist kind of thing. Mm-hmm. And he so wants to track that down and find this group because he wants to be a part of it. But he is not physically fit. He doesn't have great wit or anything like that. He's like a lovable loser kind of thing. Think like Captain America or Steve Rogers before he went through the procedure, wanting to get in the army so bad. And he's just going all over the place trying to find this group by entering any and every tryout thing that he can for whether it be military or these hidden military places. And everyone he goes to, he fails every physical test. He barely passes the written portions of the exam. He's just not fit for Men in Black whatsoever. And and when he finally is actually trying out for Men in Black, he fails all that too, and he's on his way to be escorted out, and something happens that makes them take a second look at him. That has nothing to do with his physical ability or his prowess or anything. The idea I have is that he's got some special ability or something about him that they need to solve whatever the current crisis is going on. Because Men in Black has been going, on since the 60s or 70s and all that. And there's always something happening, just like they mentioned in the first movie. And there's happened to be something going on when he's trying out. And the idea I had is that the key to solving whatever mystery or problem that they've got going on lies in an alien that is in the compound. You know how there's just tons of aliens everywhere in the Men in Black compound, and this one alien is the key for something. I haven't wrapped my head around exactly what that is, but they need him in order to do it. But they can't get him to work with them. He's kind of like a recluse, and he's angry and doesn't want to work with anybody. Just kind of keeps to himself. And somehow this kid that happens to be there trying out on his way out bumps into this character and this alien, and the alien takes a liking to him or something. And actually, so now they need this new kid to get this new alien to talk, to do whatever problem that they're solving to save the world. And then that's how he actually becomes a member of Men in Black. But that's the only thing he's got going for him is this relationship with this alien that he somehow hit it off with because of his likability. So that's my main idea how to kick it off. And then I just want to say how I want to wrap up the story too, just because it kind of clues into it. You know how at the end of the original Men in Black, they've got Kay gets neuralized because he's basically been training a replacement the whole time. I want that exact same setup at the end of this movie where you're led to believe that the exact same thing is happening. The Men in Black realize that he actually is really valuable to our cause, and he's now going to be the replacement. But what actually happens instead is Men in Black says, "Hey, we solved this problem. We don't need you anymore," and they actually neuralize him, and then he goes back to his life like regular.
Oh, okay.
There's a real dark twist. There's a real dark left turn in there at the end.
I like that.
Since he has nothing to add at that point because they've solved the problem. They don't need him to have that relationship with that other alien. And then it's all said and done. And then after the credits, you get a little stinger where this character is back at his whatever normal job he's at, and all of a sudden that alien that he buddied up with shows up at his office or wherever he works in a black suit and a black tie, and says some kind of greeting or looks at him, fade to black, and that's a clue in for the sequel.
Scott's ready to pitch this. He's like, Hollywood, I got 2 ideas. One involves cetates. All right.
Both ideas were good.
Very good. All right, Zach, what about you? What's your idea?
So I had a lot of trouble with Men in Black because it's so perfect. And so I would want to do kind of a soft reboot, continue on from Men in Black 3 by kind of having Jay's our new Zed, as it were.
So it would be Will Smith still?
No, he's Jed.
He's Jed.
Did I say Jed?
No. His name is Jay. He's the new Zed. He's Jed.
He's Jed.
Okay. Yeah, so Jed's up there in the office.
Is he hosting an intergalactic kegger?
If he's doing it right. Our new 2 protagonists, I would want this. This just sounds stupid in this day and age because it's what everyone says, but like a female-centric reboot. Still called the Men in Black, though. I'll stand my ground on that.
Not women in black?
Nope, not gonna happen. Sorry.
Chicks in black, ladies in black, dames.
WIB doesn't sound as good as MIB.
Okay.
BIB.
You can't rhyme that the same way.
No, Scott.
What? BIB?
Yeah. Continue. Sorry, continue. We
Back in Black?
Yes. Yes, Back in Black.
Yeah, I'm back in black.
I really got to get to the bottom of this.
We'll tell you later.
Carry the one.
I would keep the same dynamic of a grizzled veteran and a young hotshot. And I kept trying to come up with alien plots, but it doesn't really matter because the plot in Men in Black was it was just an excuse to have the jokes going. So you just get a good writer in there for the jokes, and you make a good movie. So you can have the plot be whatever the hell it needs to be.
Well, you got to construct something. You can't just wing it. you got to construct a movie of sorts.
Cockroach felt pretty winged.
I disagree with that, man. I think they really thought that out. That was
I like that too.
Yeah, it was a very complex plot. I would totally disagree with you. All right, is there anything else to your pitch?
No.
Mine would be that I would open with E.T., the real E.T., being pursued. E.T.'s also an Amblin Universal property, so a crossover could work. I checked. Call the lawyers. Okay. It's all good. So E.T.'s being pursued by what they think are conspiracy nuts. And when they run into 2 guys wearing black suits and wearing sunglasses, the conspiracy nuts, or as they're perceived, know exactly who they are. But before they can run away, they're flashy thingied. They're neuralized. So from then, we meet our heroes, J and K. There's no training. They're already established in their jobs. They go through kind of like a day in the life. And I would want to follow suit more. I would want to bring in some of the comic where it's got supernatural elements as well as aliens. It kind of covers it runs the whole gamut. And so from there, they track down a werewolf or maybe a vampire or witch or of sorts or something. And then I want them to end up at the body of a dead planetary leader. So from there, I still really like that serious yet comedic tone, but I do want to, like I said, incorporate a lot of supernatural elements. So Abdullah.
You want X-Files?
I want, yeah, because the Men in Black really did stem from that era. That's what the Men in Black are. They're the guys that show up when weird stuff happens and it's unexplained phenomena. That's what they are. That's what the comic was. And now that we've had these movies, we can try something different. So Abdullahan is basically, it's like a headless horseman, and he's murdering top level beings. Abdullahan is a headless rider who carries his head under one arm. It's an Irish legend. And in his other hand, he carries like a spine that functions as a whip. It's a really cool look. You should look it up. So when Abdullahan stops riding, someone is about to die. And all they do is they call out that person's name and they die instantly. If you try to stop them, they will mark you with blood, and basically that's a signal that you're next. So J and K learn that Abdullahan is killing beings, aliens as well as supernatural creatures, leaders of their respective races. And they need to stop him and find out why. And as they go about their investigation, it leads them to X, who's another MIB agent, who realizes that the MIBs are not who they say they are, and they want to shut the organization down due to incompetence, which is why this is happening. Basically, they know that the people in charge of the Men in Black are actually doing this for selfish reasons. The reason that they're in charge of everything is a nefarious reason. It's not to save the planet reason. So after J&K eventually stopped X, they would come to find out that he was right after all, and they have been played by the main Men in Black organization, and then the credits roll. So you have your setup for the next film. That's my pitch.
I love the character that you're talking about, this headless horseman with the spine whip. That sounds really cool. It seems like it would give the movie a much darker tone, which I think is what you wanted.
Yeah, I want it dark. I still want humor. You can have humor, but I want it to go dark. Darker.
Right. I like the idea of Men in Black potentially being shut down. I like that notion being in the mix. Like people are trying. Has it been done though with other? Even like Marvel, like S.H.I.E.L.D., they're trying to.
Everything's been S.H.I.E.L.D. done. I mean, I'd be hard pressed to find anything that hasn't been done in some.
No, I know. What do you think, Zach?
I don't think I like that idea. The idea itself sounds, solid. Sounds like a cool TV show. It just, I don't know if it fits the tone of the Men in Black film franchise as we know it. I mean, I know you're going for darker, but I don't know if I'd want to see a darker Men in Black.
I'm a little in the same boat that the tone seems so unique to Men in Black. Mm-hmm. I feel like that style of humor is very present there, and it's iconic. I still kind of want that tone, but I gotta say I like the idea of your villain, and I like the idea of somebody trying to bring down Men in Black, especially leaving that on a bit of a cliffhanger for a sequel. I'm just worried about losing that tone. Does that make sense?
What if it's not super? I mean, because I still think the Men in Black movie Edgar wasn't like a fun. I mean, he was fun to watch, but I wouldn't call him a fun guy. He still killed people. He did it quirky.
Well, yeah, he was a giant bug trapped in the Edgar suit.
Yeah, that's true.
No, I want to go back to your beginning of your pitch when you said like they're trying to track down E.T., like the actual E.T. from the movie.
Yeah.
I'm just trying to blend my idea with your idea a little bit. This is just off the cuff. What if the alien in my story that the main character like befriends is actually Elliot? They actually get what's his name that played Elliot in E.T. to be that
Henry Thomas.
Character. Henry Thomas, and he's like, Elliot now hangs out at Men in Black because after E.T. went home, he's gone through depression and he misses E.T. and that's why he's upset and keeps to himself. And our new character somehow buddies up with him for some reason.
So it's officially a crossover.
We're crossing. Well, if they're going to cross over 21 Jump Street, I think we're going to cross over E.T. That makes a little more sense.
It sure does. It really does. It makes a lot.
You guys are crazy on this 21 Jump Street idea.
I do like the idea. I really like let's throw everybody's idea together. I really like the idea of Will Smith being in charge, because that would be enough for a nice cameo without having to have it be a Will Smith movie.
Do you want him to still be like young, snappy Will Smith, or do you want him to be grizzled like Zed was?
No, I want him to be like Zed. I want him to be like, this is what happens after 30 years of doing this job. I don't want him to be, I'm still quippy and fun and, I'm landing on white people. I don't want that anymore. I want it to go to the next level.
Yeah, you want him to be tired.
Yes, like all of us. Yeah. By all of us that saw the movie when it came out. We're all tired now. So he's got to be like us.
Yeah, that's the idea I would have had for Jay. Yeah, still not above making a joke, but just tired.
That's good. I like that. Scott, explain your idea to me again. So I guess I'm lost.
Short version is the new recruit has no business being in Men in Black, but he for whatever reason has some connection with whatever alien is kind of keeps to himself, but that character is the key to either communicating with whatever alien race is causing problems for the human race, and they need that alien in order to help stop whatever's happening. But they can't get him to help. They can't get him to be responsive and to offer his assistance. But this one kid has become the only person that's ever been able to get him to do anything, to speak any words, to show anything but silence this entire time. And that's why they want the new recruit around. And then that's how he winds up in Men in Black. They said, okay, we're going to recruit him, but just for that purpose. And then he goes alongside
the only thing I don't want is I don't want another training. I don't want another guy who's going to learn the job again.
Well, that's what I'm saying is you don't have to, because they're not going to train him because there's no point in training a weakling. You know, you're not going to get him in shape for whatever problem they've got going on right now. This is like an emergency situation that they got to solve. And the only reason they're bringing him on is because he's got that connection to the one and only key to fixing this problem. And
what, does he barter in your idea that he barters to become a Man in Black? Why wouldn't they just use him as a witness and then just, flashy thing him?
Well, that's what they do at the end of the movie.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
At the end of the movie, they flashy thing him because they don't have any use for him anymore.
And they could always just bring him back.
I like it. Is there a way to work in shooting a little girl though?
Yeah, sure. Randomly, we can, like an actual girl or a cardboard cutout.
If there's a way to work shooting at an actual girl and making him still look good, then that's great. But I don't think you can. No, I like it.
Is there a way to combine I'm trying to figure, because we're somewhere in the middle now. So Jay would be the incompetent, so to speak. I mean, really, he's not the guy that they want him to be, right?
Right.
Okay. But Kay is still a grizzled veteran.
Well, that's what I can't decide, because I was thinking about it, because one of my initial thoughts was actually flipping the characters and making Kay the slick, cool character like Will Smith, and Jay being the old timer, like the new kid, the old guy that's being recruited. I that felt too easy for me. But what if we still went with this idea, and instead of making Kay the old grizzled guy, making him the new hotness, so to speak? You still have that dichotomy between a lovable loser and the real slick at the top of his game character that is his mentor.
It sounds a little too 22 Jump Street to me. That's what it sounds like to me.
They were both lovable losers. Let's be honest.
God.
Well, they played to each other's strengths. Let's put it that way.
Yeah, I'm yelling cut. I don't want that anywhere near this movie. Nowhere near it. I have no interest in that whatsoever.
Okay.
I'll be the Captain Buzzkill. I don't care. So there's my cut.
So you want Kay to be old and grizzled still?
I'm not yelling cut on that. I'm not really particular about the age. I'm just yelling cut that I felt like it was leaning a little too much toward that crossover, the 22, and I think that's a horrible idea for me personally. Okay. I think it's a fun concept that would never work in film unless you had all the right people. And by Jonah Hill's record, he doesn't always have all the right people. So yeah, I'm going with that. You'd end up with a Magic Mike moment. You'd end up with there'd be all kinds of bad things that happen.
I don't know how you don't think that sounds great.
No, I do. I'm okay with that. I concede to the partner. The guy that's brought on as a partner is actually not as sharp as we had hoped. He's actually seems incompetent. But now, would he actually prove to be resilient? Well, capable?
It depends on how you want to end it, because I was really stuck on my ending of them just being done with him by the end of it. And
what is the object? I mean, I realize he has the key that the alien needs, but what is the alien trying to do?
The one that he's befriending?
Yeah.
Like he's the only living alien left that speaks whatever language that they need to communicate with this race.
Okay.
You know, like how in the original Men in Black, they were the Archelians were beaming down these messages to Men in Black, blaming them for the galaxy being, or not the galaxy being lost, but their prince being killed. Mm-hmm. They had, it's not English they're speaking. So whoever this alien is the only remaining one that speaks that language and that can actually reason with this threat. But he just has no interest in doing whatsoever, and because he's buddied up with the new recruit. And they figured that he might be able to talk some sense into him and get him to actually help them and get this communication thing going.
Okay, that makes sense. The only thing I would ask, Zach, are you okay with this story element?
Yeah, that's fine. Scott really wants to neuralize this poor guy, man.
I just like the idea of setting it up and making people think that the same thing is going to happen, and then pulling a twist on it.
He's just kind of fumbling his way to a few successes along the way, but not enough for Men in Black to go, okay.
Mm-hmm.
So I do like that.
Can we merge some of my ideas? I really want
that Horseman.
I really do want the Horseman, but if not, I would at least want some supernatural presence. I want the world opened up. If you're going to reboot it, give me more than just the aliens. You know, I think because the comic embraced that, I don't see any reason why we couldn't or allow
well, that's
that.
fine. Make the threat not aliens. Make the threat something more supernatural, like you're thinking. Whatever supernatural thing can still have this language that this one character is the only one left, like in the lineage that has the knowledge of how to communicate with them.
No, I'm fine with it. I'm actually fine with that being aliens, but they can use the supernatural forces on Earth as weapons. I mean, something like that, so that you have that element to the movie. And it's kind of like you have aliens, you have the supernatural beings, you know, you have various options as opposed to let's just see how goofy we can make the next alien. So then you can have creatures that feel more threatening sometimes.
Could you make their horsemen like their first rider, like a warning shot to humanity or something like that?
Oh, how do you mean? Explain.
He could be something that they captured from another planet and they just let him loose on other worlds.
Or maybe the aliens that are the bigger threat are so technologically advanced that they actually have the ability to communicate with the supernatural. And they summon your Headless Horseman character from Earth as a way to attack. And that way you slide in that character that you want in there so bad.
I like it.
As the warning shot.
I like it. So then everybody gets a little something, something.
Mm-hmm.
And Will Smith gets the job because I was really worried about his career. You know, he was struggling.
This is if the whole swapping body thing doesn't turn out.
I yelled cut. That's already gone. God.
Can I cut it back in? That's the only movie I want to see now.
Can you cut a cut?
Yeah.
No rule. That's a rule. Can't cut a cut. All right. So who's going to direct this masterpiece? Which I know it sounds a little fumbled, but we'll have it all put together when Wayne provides his trailer. So who should direct?
Tarantino. There's no question.
There's absolutely a question. Plus, we already have Tarantino doing Tomb Raider, so that's not going to happen.
Wow. Yeah, you guys really botched that one, man. Wow.
No. I did not vote for Quentin Tarantino.
That was an audience vote.
Even though I'm not particular of the films they've made thus far, I would throw out the Russo brothers because they have a good way of balancing action, but it's still mostly comedy.
Mm-hmm.
And they have a history with Arrested Development, so they know comedy. So that would be my vote.
Okay.
They did the Captain America movies.
Yeah.
It's funny you said Arrested Development because I actually went with Greg Mottola, who did Arrested Development and Adventureland and Paul. So he's got some alien humor.
He's got some alien chops.
Yeah.
Too bad it was a Seth Rogen movie.
Yeah, I didn't like it very much, but he's got experience with alien movies. So
mine was Jon Favreau. That's who I picked.
Okay.
After Iron Man and Jungle Book especially, he handles effects fantastic. Balance of story, darkness, humor. I mean, he's like the whole package for me.
I like that choice.
Didn't he also direct Iron Man 2, though?
Yeah, but you know what? He also did Jungle Book, Iron Man 1, and Chef. So
and Elf.
Yeah. And Elf. Top that.
Elf is a terrible movie.
Elf?
You shut your whore mouth.
Oh, yeah. Man. Elf is probably one of my least favorite films.
Really? What's it like
that movie?
Sucking all the time? I don't know what that's like. Well, it looks like
Sounds like Jon Favreau is going to win.
Scott came over. So who do you want for the characters, for the leads? What do you guys have?
Zach, you go ahead this time. I did the...
Yeah, well, for the grizzled person, I really had Charlize Theron in my head. But that was back when they were women.
Okay.
Is it grizzled Charlize Theron?
Yeah, man.
On what planet is she grizzled exactly?
Oh, you talking?
You see the movie Monster?
Yeah, or Mad Max.
Yeah, if that's grizzled, man.
Well, but she could still play the straight person to somebody's wackiness fairly well.
Okay. And who would be your young incompetent? Who'd be Jay?
Michael B. Jordan.
Lord. Scott?
I went two different routes because I wasn't sure if we were going to have the character be the young incompetent or if we were going to have like a Will Smith replacement, which is near impossible to replace that guy. Mm-hmm. But if it were going to be the young incompetent lovable loser, I want either Jay Baruchel or Will Poulter.
I like Jay Baruchel.
I don't.
He was Hiccup, right? In How to Train Your Dragon?
Yeah, that was a good voice. Well, I had Tom Hanks as the grizzled K, and I had Andrew Garfield as Jay.
Is Tom Hanks grizzled? Is he just America's sweetheart?
I think he can play grizzled. Did you see Sully? He can play grizzled. He's getting to the age, man. He's up there. And Andrew Garfield, I just think is a great actor.
You know, else can play anything. Charlize Theron.
That's true. That is true.
My only worry with Andrew Garfield is that we kind of got lovable loser turned superhero with Spider-Man. I feel like I will look at that character and just think Spider-Man.
I don't know how that's a bad thing when he's a great Spider-Man, but okay.
I don't want him to be Spider-Man. He was a great Spider-Man. I don't disagree with that, but I don't want this character to have that moment where he, becomes buff and actually like proves himself. No, I want him to do his thing and then be done with him.
I don't know. I saw Hacksaw Ridge and I never thought, hey, look, Spider-Man saving all those people from all the Japanese guys. But
no, we just make it a Spider-Man crossover.
Who was your other character, Scott?
Will Poulter?
No, the other agent, the competent agent.
The slick agents. Either John Boyega, because he's so hot right now. Or Kit Harington.
Oh God, no. I'm going with Charlize Theron on that one.
Yes.
Woo. Yeah, I'm on board Charlize Theron.
Oh, you mean my I don't give you my grizzled ones either.
Okay, well, you can give them to me, but I'm kind of on board Charlize right now. I'm feeling it.
Okay.
I'm starting to.
I had Jonathan Banks, who was Mike on Breaking Bad.
I like Charlize. It's different.
Or Nick Offerman.
Jesus.
Yes.
No, dear God. All right, Charlize, we have.
Eggs you have.
And then you guys, I don't like Jay Baruchel at all. So, but if you two agree on it, that's who it is.
Who are your picks?
Jay Baruchel or Will Poulter? Did you see We're the Millers?
No, Aaron. It was Aaron's picks.
Andrew Garfield was who I had for Jay.
Okay. Yeah, no, you can't. I go with Jay Baruchel.
All right.
I think he's a good actor, man. I think get out of your mind.
Do not. But
he's fun.
I'll check out his movie. I mean, because if he's going to be a Men in Black, I have to, right? It's required, I think.
The idea of him and Charlize Theron together does sound hilarious.
It sounds like the whole movie he better be trying to ask her out. That's what I think should happen.
Come on.
Is that too played out?
You might be playing into the expectation a little bit.
A little bit. I have a question. Okay, so I did have the idea that could you do this as like the stinger for the movie where it's revealed that Men in Black actually is a shadier organization than we thought, and there's an agent. I don't care who it is, but any agent. I had X because that's one listed in the comic book. But any agent that comes to show that the actual agency is a little shady, maybe even Zed doesn't know, or Jed, whatever we call them. So at the stinger, that's when it's revealed that this agent is aware that Men in Black is compromised or whatever. So we have kind of like a feed for the sequel. And I was thinking James McAvoy would be that guy, like to lead into the next movie.
Okay.
That was the only other idea I had.
Yeah.
I like the idea of that being flipped on its script. Maybe even make Men in Black the full-on bad guys. Like it's not just like a little shady organization. Maybe what deep down their intentions are not good.
Right.
Somehow.
They're here to rise Cthulhu out of the waters.
There you go. Something like that. That would actually be kind of cool.
That would be cool.
And then so Jay Baruchel, because he's not really accepted in the next movie, then he could figure that out and go from there. We can go from there. Make a series out of it.
I like it.
Yeah, I like that.
Okay. Well, nostalgic moments here are 5 nods that have to be in our reboot/remake. You have to have the neuralizer. I think that's a legal requirement. The agents have to be known as letters, so that kind of sound like names, but letters. Someone's head needs to grow back, which means we have to blow someone's head off.
You insensitive prick.
That was a really good impression, man.
Yeah.
We need to have a reference to an Edgar suit, like just as an homage, just a passing reference to an Edgar suit. And the noisy cricket and the vulgar aliens have to make an appearance at some point, even if it's just in passing.
Oh yeah, vulgar aliens need to be there.
Smoking, taking their cartons of marbles as they vacate.
Just don't push it too far. I don't want to see them like in a brothel or something like that, because I could see them trying to drive that joke into the ground.
That sounds great.
I don't know why that's a problem. Yeah.
Yeah, man. If you got to do something out there.
Oh man, let's go to. We're gonna hear one more clip from the original. Here you go.
All right, kid, here's the deal. At any given time, there are around 1,500 aliens on the planet. Most of them right here in Manhattan. And most of them are decent enough. They're just trying to make a living.
Cab drivers?
Not as many as you'd think. Humans, for the most part, don't have a clue. They don't want one or need one either. They're happy. They think they have a good bead on things.
Well, why the big secret? People are smart. They can handle it.
A person is smart. People are dumb, panicky, dangerous animals, and you know it. 1,500 years ago, everybody knew the Earth was the center of the universe. 500 years ago, everybody knew the Earth was flat. And 15 minutes ago, you knew that people were alone on this planet.
All right, guys. Now, are you ready? While we were listening to that clip, we spent hours, weeks, putting together whatever the hell we just said to make a coherent movie. And now Wayne Henderson, courtesy of MediaVoiceovers.com, is going to present it to you in movie parody trailer form. And do you know why we make Wayne Henderson do this? Because he makes this look good.
Here come the men in black. Here come the men in black. Woman in black. They won't let you remember.
The shady guys dress in black, remember that, just in case we're ever face to face and make contact. The title held by me, MIB, means Men in Black, don't misunderstand me. We lurk in shadows, move in silence, guarding against extraterrestrial and supernatural violence. New partners up, our new guy, Jay. He's about to find out he got played. He saw something strange but didn't watch his back. That's a mistake, because you never know where the MIB is at. What's this beast with his head in hand in front of me? Adulahan, what your eyes saw they did not see. The regular peeps zoom in on the impending doom, and then boom, black suits fill the room. We'll use Jay to ditch the threat. We'll cast him back, his use is spent. Hypnotizer, neuralizer, Jay's memories turn to fantasies. Ain't no MIBs, can I please? Do what we say, that's the way we kick it. And if you stay after credits, you know we're cricket. We're still your first, last, and only line of defense against the worst creatures in the universe. So don't fear us, cheer us. Even Jed thinks we're still fearless. MIBs don't care that the deck is stacked. What's that stand for? Men in Black.
The men in black.
Okay, great job, Wayne.
Nice, Wayne.
Great job. Great.
We've done better.
Wow.
I'm kidding. It's great.
Way to insult the talent, man.
All right. Well, that's going to do it for this episode of Remake This Movie Right. Wayne Henderson is available at MediaVoiceovers.com, as I said. Scotty, where can people find you?
You can find me on TheHollywoodOutsider.com with Aaron. We host a podcast over there once a week. New episodes releasing every Wednesday. And I also host the Gaming Outsider podcast, which releases on the same day. You can check us out at TheGamingOutsider.com or our social media links and subscribe to the show there.
All right, Zach, where can people find you?
Nowhere yet, but there will be a site and a podcast coming from me soon. And you guys will hear about it incessantly when I come back on the show and let you know when it's launching.
You said that last time. Where's it at?
It's a work in progress, man. You gotta get everything lined up. You know what it's like to launch a website. You didn't just do it in a day.
I just dropped it, man. Like it was hot. That's what I did. That's not true at all. No, actually, I'm still working on it. It's still not very good. All right. All right. Well, Remake This Movie Right. There is probably going to be one more teaser episode and then a season finale episode of Remake This Movie Right. And then we'll be taking a little holiday break. So this is the last full-on episode. But there's more to come, so stay tuned. I do want to say thanks to everybody that have listened, but please make sure to subscribe if you haven't. Whatever podcast app you use, make sure to subscribe so you don't miss any episodes, as well as review us in whatever you use. If it's iTunes, if it's Google Play, whatever it is. Reviews really do help a podcast, and the more you can help, the better it is. And you can find me at TheHollywoodOutsider.com if you watch Westworld. You can hear me talk about Westworld at BeyondWestworldPodcast.com, and I also do the BlacklistExposed.com if you like the show The Blacklist. So check any of those out if you miss my voice. I don't know why you would. Honestly, you're probably just waiting for me to shut up so you can get out of here. But our email is remakethismovie@gmail.com. Let's remakethismovie@gmail.com. If you have a better idea or a pitch for how you would reboot Men in Black, we're dying to hear it. And our Twitter is @RemakeRight. And you can always find our other episodes at remakeThisMovieRight.com. Please share the show on your social media outlets. Is there anything else you guys want to say? You want to talk some more about Men in Black 2 and how anybody could have rewritten that movie better?
I think that movie gets a lot of hate. I don't think it's as bad as it was. Go rewatch the second one and tell me it's as bad as you think it is.
Isn't it rain because she cries? Is that a thing?
I don't remember that at all.
I don't.
All right.
See, I actually built a neuralizer after I saw it. And I erased it from my memory. So I don't remember parts of it, mostly because they sucked. I get what I don't think it's an awful movie. I just think it's a bad sequel. How's that? Does that make sense?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
It's a tough act to follow. And they did it very poorly.
Very tough act to follow.
I did like Jermaine Clement in the third one as the villain. He was over the top in all the right ways.
He was great.
I don't know if I agree with that statement, but I get what you're saying. I feel you.
That's a good movie.
Now, can we
back off?
I do want to say, Hollywood, if you are actually listening, which you should be writing these from our podcast by now. I don't know why you haven't, but don't do Men in Black 4 without Will Smith, because I'm going to tell you, we all saw Independence Day 2.
Yep.
So either reboot it or leave it alone.
I agree.
Just can't have it both ways. All right, guys. Well, the credits have rolled on this remake, so be sure to come back for our next one. And remember that every film you love will get a reboot someday, and only you can remake that movie right. What about Jonah Hill trying to be Will Smith makes you laugh?
It sounds funny.
It does sound funny. I don't know how that doesn't sound funny.
Would it be big Jonah Hill or would it be little Jonah Hill? This matters.
Goes back and forth.
It really does.
I would like to see Channing Tatum acting like Tommy Lee Jones, though.
I do too. I think that sounds awesome. You could even have like a spot halfway through the movie where for like half a scene they switch, and now Channing Tatum is being Will Smith and Jonah Hill is being Tommy Lee Jones, just for like 2 lines, and then they switch back just for the gag.
I tell you what, if you incorporate my Doulahan. I did.
We did. We got it, man. We got it in
there, man.
You know what? We're changing the movie. We're still recording. You know what? We're changing the movie. It's going to be the Body Switch movie with the Doulahan in it. So there you go. Boom. Headless Horseman.
Still on Charlie's somehow.
And Charlie's Theron somehow.
Let me see you just bounce with me, just bounce with me, just bounce with me, come on. Let me see you just slide with me, just slide with me, just slide with me, come on. Now freeze.